I'm here today with Verna. Verna is my factory for the last 15 years. It's really exciting today because we're at a real sewing factory in New York. So it's pretty amazing what you're going to see here. So let's get started. Class is in session. Let's dive in. So today I am super excited. We are here in Brooklyn at Verna's factory, and this is where we produce many garments over the last 15 years. So Verna's been so kind to give us a bit of a tour. So come on, let's go. So Verna's going to tell us what's happening now. So this is the sewing area.
Yeah, the sewing garment right now. This lady is sewing the collar.
You know what's interesting? Remember we were seeing the collar in the cutting room, and now we're seeing a collar being sewn. Remember we saw the cut work of the collar in the cutting room in the last episode. But yeah, so
this lady is doing some part. She's doing elastic.
So you can see she's measuring it out. She's marking it because she has a measurement of how much elastic needs to go into that garment. Let's see. And now she's going to sew it. There you go. She's sewing it in, but she did take that measurement first because she has to make sure she has the accurate measurement for the elastic. And then, so now what's happening here?
She's doing some section like join facing and color together.
Oh.
Almost done for this garment. See? Join color and facing.
Okay, so she's joining the collar. What Verna's saying, she's joining the collar and she's joining the facing. When we were at the cutting room, I was showing you those fused pieces, those pieces that were running through the heat set machine to fuse. So this is a fused piece right now. This is the self, and then this is the fusible. So here it is, as it is in the garment. So you could see how, what the application of that is, basically. So you saw the collar, now you saw her sewing the collar. So this person right now is pretty much putting together the most of the garment right now. So she's doing the collar and the facing. This is called the facing. That's on the inside.
Bias is like that.
Ah, okay, the bias. Okay, yeah, we talk about bias. So what this is a roll of bias. This is essentially fabric that is being, it's cut on the diagonal. It's not cut straight grain, it's cut across the grain, and it's cut diagonally, and it's called bias. And this is used in making the garment. This bias, this piece of fabric ends up being, you see it here, this is it rolled up, and it ends up being, this is the bias this is bias binding. When we talk about finishing, I talked about biases and bias binding. This has a top stitch. So this roll of fabric is becoming this here. So this is the bias. So this is inside out. It's not finished, but she's just this isn't obviously not finished, but she's just sewing on the bias onto the end of the sleeve. Because this is at the cuff of the sleeve. So, okay, cool. That's great. Thanks so much. She's telling us everything. This is important. This is the stuff you don't get to see. You don't see this on YouTube, I'm telling you. Okay.
This is like another part. The sleeve have a cloth.
Yes.
And then this lady, she finishes the sleeve.
Okay, so she's finishing the cuff.
Clean finish.
Clean. This okay. Yeah. See, this is clean finish. And what does clean finish mean? You see no stitching.
Yeah.
It's called clean finish because you don't see any of the stitches, any of those stitch details. You don't see it, so it's clean finish. So this is the cuff. So this is just a sleeve. This is a sleeve and a cuff right here. Okay. Yeah.
This is long just have a waist elastic.
Oh, okay.
So she's doing the elastic at the waist.
All right.
Inside the elastic.
Got it. Yeah. All right. So this is the waistband elastic. So that's all that this is. Yeah, the bottom it's got a printed bottom and I don't know. Yeah, solid top. Yeah. Is that the way it's going to be? Solid at the top?
Yeah. Solid top and finish it like that. It's really nice. Yeah.
Got it.
Elastic.
You see the elastic is in there. So it's stitched on to the seam allowance. This will be cleaned more. Like this is all, that's what we talk about cleaning the garment. That will all be cleaned. It won't be messy like that. But this is just the, when they're setting the elastic. Okay, thank you. Oh my God, this is an Alice and Trixie print. That's an Alice and Trixie print. Remember I told you when we were in the cutting room, I said sometimes they use the fabrics to make little things, the aprons, but this isn't. What is that thing?
This is like the foot is
This-
if
no,
you
but-
don't do that, you will every day, right? You will hit the foot. So
It's kind of a cushion, a cushion.
Yeah, like the cushion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, that's so funny. So this is, so if you could see, this is very unfinished. It's, you're just seeing the bodice. You have front and back bodice. You have the sleeve here. Again, completely not finished yet. And now we're setting the zipper in the back. So the zipper's been set. So you can see that the garments are done in sections. That's how the garments are sewn. So now they're doing all zipper, 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 and goes on from there. And then they'll be attaching the bottom and, so on and so forth. But everything's done in sections. Now, tell us about this, Verna.
To protect us.
For protection.
He is a guy who always protect the business. This guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you hear?
So-
This always protects the business. This is to protect the business. They have this, what do you call this again? This is like an altar of sorts. But this is, and look, the oranges, that's good luck.
Yeah.
The oranges are good luck, and this protects the business. You have the orange tree. So this is good. No smoking.
Mellow area.
Oh.
Mellow and buttonhole, pure mellow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marrow, buttonhole, and pearl marrow. So marrow
Yeah,
is.
marrow.
Can we show a garment just being marrowed? That's the initial
Yeah.
putting the garment together with the marrow. That just like gets the
Before-
pieces together.
We call overlock. Sometimes
Overlock.
we call overlock.
Yeah.
And we call mellow.
Overlock or marrow, but that basically like attaches everything
Inside.
inside. So this is this is marrow stitch. If you can, I don't know if can you see that? You see that with multi-thread. How many thread marrow is that? That's a 3-thread marrow.
This is a 5 to
That's 5 thread.
This is a saving stitch. This is a mellow.
Okay, so that's it's a safety stitch?
Yeah,
This is a 5-thread marrow, and that's your safety stitch. So that's what keeps the garment attached. That basically is the initial attaching of the parts of the garment. You do marrow. And then, so she's doing marrow. And you mentioned this was the pearl marrow. So pearl marrow is different. That's the more decorative marrow, the pearl marrow.
Mellow is like that.
Yeah.
This is a pearl mellow.
So okay.
Really,
Oh, but it's kind of like not the really decorative one. This is pearl marrow, but they have other ones that are actually more decorative. This is just very basic. That's not very good quality, this type of pearl marrow, right?
Yeah.
It's just, because the other one has more of the threads. It's more the decorative
but
pearl.
They don't like too much.
Okay.
I approve.
You approve. Okay. Okay. You approve this message.
This is buttonhole.
Buttonhole machine.
Buttonhole here and button machine.
These are the buttonhole machines here. So these are buttonhole. As you can see, everything has a reason to be in a certain order, in a certain place, and there are sections, and that's how the garment gets put together in sections. So this is where they do buttonholes here. These are Alice and Trixie prints, and here they have this is to show the various thread colors that they're going to use. So they have the thread numbers, so that's how they know. So this print gets that thread number, that print gets that thread number. So that way everybody knows what color thread is going to go onto the garment. Very important. You have to think of everything. This is nice. This is it's cashmere.
cashmere.
It's a blend though, no? It's 100% cashmere.
Yeah, 100%.
100% cashmere. But look, you'll see the difference. Like, look at the finishing on this. This is a much more expensive garment than some of the things we've been seeing. And that's when we talk about finishing. The higher the price point, the more expensive and better the fabric, the higher the finishing. So this is cashmere. So you're not going to have that like pearl marrow that we just saw, which would never be on a garment like this. This garment is much. This isn't pressed, by the way. Yeah. This has just been sewn. So there's still more, even though this looks like it's pretty much finished, there's still more that goes into this garment. But this is, you can see by the finishing And you can see they have this this ribbon tape. Like this is, you know, you don't see this on an inexpensive garment. This is on a more expensive garment, the way this is finished. And then also, you know, even if you look at this, is this a welt pocket? The welt pocket. This is very expensive. Usually a factory they might charge you even just like $1.50 or $2 just to make this one pocket when they figure out their costing for the garment. Just for the one pocket, add that to the labor price. Could be $1.50 to $2 per pocket. So that this really brings up the cost. But you could see it's really lovely. And then we have the hook and we have a hook closure. But this will be, after this will be pressed. So the garment doesn't really look beautifully finished until it's pressed. The pressing is where the garment really becomes like, oh wow, it's a wow moment after it's pressed. So this is cashmere, this is a skirt, this is nice.
She's cleaning.
Okay. So as you can see, some of this, they're still finishing. You saw these prints out in the other room. They're still finishing some of the garments, but as they get finished, they come here, and this is where she's cleaning. So she's basically clipping all the excess threads. So that when you go shopping next time, look at your garment and see if there's excess threads, because then this didn't happen if it wasn't properly done.
This is a cover stitch.
So this is a cover stitch machine. This is your cover stitch, basically. That's like, so you see the threads in the cover stitch. This is. I don't know. So these are shorts. Yeah. So these are done pretty much, right? This is finished.
I'm gonna show you the molding machine over there.
Okay, cool. All right, perfect. So these are little shorts. Let's see. There's elastic. This looks nice. See the way this is finished. This is a clean finish, and this is a more expensive finish. A lot of times when you go shopping, if you look at the waistband of something, if you see this top stitch, that's clean. It's cleaned because a lot of times you'll see the marrow on a less expensive garment. Like if you go like into H&M or stores that have inexpensive garments, you're not going to see a clean finish. You're going to see a marrow stitch. So this is definitely a higher, a more desirable finish, more expensive finish. That's when I talk about finishing, that's what we're talking about. Hi, how are you? Oh, Louie, nice to see you. How have you been? That's Verna's husband, Louie. He's retired. He's got Verna working her ass off. No, it's true. Go ask her now. Verna, Louie, he's retired, right?
Yeah.
He's got her working. This is a single needle machine, which is basically like all your single, it's like one needle and it's one stitch. So that's a single needle machine. And Verna has this machine here. This is a single needle. It's this one here, and she has it here for this is more the finishing room where things are getting ready to be hung and pressed and out to the customer, whatever the brand is, the client, the brand. And this machine is here in case anything happened along the way, that they missed something along the way. They have this so they could take it and they can just like fix any fixes basically at the very end stage of the production. They have that single needle machine here for that. So that's really good. What does that do?
The elastic, see?
Yes.
Not when you sew single, right? It will break the
yes.
So this one cannot break, right? See?
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So this basically what Verna's saying. This has the two needles here. So basically, this has multiple. All these holes are for different threads. So there are only two threads here. So you see two threads here. 2 stitches, so you can have up to 2, 4, 6, 8, like 12 on this.
Yeah, 12.
Up to 12, but this is for 2, and this would just like run through and have the double needle. And what's good about this, it's got the elastic, so it doesn't crack. You ever like buy anything and you went like this and you heard it cracked, the thread cracked? You don't want that. So that's, yeah. These are cute. These are for swimming. This is swimming.
I think so.
Yeah, this
lady really like this fabric. Everything is this fabric.
Everything is this fabric. Yeah, but I feel like this is something that can get wet and be washed. Interesting.
Travel, you don't have to get wrinkled.
Yeah, and it doesn't wrinkle. She's saying it doesn't wrinkle. So, interesting. That's interesting. So where do you do that? The cross stitch?
Over there.
Oh.
Yeah, the buttonhole.
Oh, at the buttonhole.
The button, like, see?
Yeah.
Across the button. Across it, see?
Yeah, what Vern is showing is like this is a certain, like a lot of times you'll see your buttons like will have like thread and then thread. They're kind of like running parallel. Some people are requesting that it's like an X pattern, like an X, the thread goes through on an X. All these things are like, if you know, when you look, next time you go looking at garments, like look at all these things and understand that there are decisions that have been made ahead of time. You know, why is that way? Why is it an X and it's not, you know, lining up like parallel? You know what I mean? There's a reason, because the person, and in this case, the top button is red and the rest are white. These are design decisions that people make. This was the design decision. They wanted this to be white thread and that to be red. So every little thing that goes into the garment has been thought about. And this also, this is a nice clean finish as well. I want to show you this. This is what we talk about where we say it's clean, because you're not seeing any marrow. You know, it's just top stitched and it's clean, and you're not seeing any of that threads. When you go shopping, definitely look at the things, you know, look at the clothing and you'll see what has threads, like multi-threads sticking out, like marrow, which is like a multi 3 to 5 thread marrow stitch that you'll see on the underside of, you know, but this, again, this speaks to a higher quality garment that's all clean finish. No facings, you know, it's just all tucked in and it's all clean, and so it's very clean. And it's got the pocket as well. Yeah. See, this is when I say marrow, this is what I mean by the marrow. Like you'll see a lot of that marrow where here, you know, you'll see marrow here instead of it clean. So this is fine because it's inside and it's hidden. Yeah, I mean, they could have thought about that, but it's fine. You know what? It's hidden. It's fine. It's in the pocket. You know, there's no reason to spend extra money, because that would be extra money. It's more money to make this than it is to make this. You know, so it's, again, all to the quality of the garment. The finishing is what the price goes up. You know, you can have a garment sewn for a certain amount of money. It could be the same two identical garments, and one could be sewn for more money and one less, and the one that's less money is just going to be finished in a more poor fashion, and it won't look expensive. So it is all about the finishing. So when you're getting pricing from factories, that's another thing. When you're getting pricing from factories, you need to take into account how the finishing is, because that's how the factory looks at it, looking by the finishing to see what price that they're going to charge. If, oh, you want a clean finish, I charge one price. Oh, you don't mind the marrow showing, I charge another price. So these are all really, this is stuff, these are amazing. I don't know if you guys are realizing the jewels and the gems Verna and I are sharing with you today. I mean, this stuff is like, you don't learn this stuff in school. Like, this is amazing stuff, and I hope it's landing for you guys. Now we're in pressing. These are two different pressing machines. This one comes down like that. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Like for sometimes for jacket.
Okay.
Yeah, for different garment.
Different.
So
do you do? Would you do pants there?
Yeah.
Like pants, like jackets.
Like the bigger skirt, but this one cannot
because of the pleating.
Yeah,
she's saying this one can't, obviously this can't go through the press, it's got pleating, but this type of press that comes down from the top is more for jackets, for pants, like a flat skirt, for instance. That's what you use the flat press for. Otherwise, you're using the iron. So there's two different ways to be pressing the garment, so either flat press or with the iron.
What's the iron and which part is the last iron, so...
Right, this like where you start and where you end. Yeah, Verna's talking about there's a method to how you're ironing. You iron, you know, certain places first, and then you go to certain places last. There's a method to how that, so it presses perfectly, you know, throughout the garment. Because, you know, you ever iron at home and then all of a sudden, like, you went back and you ironed something else and you're like, you kind of messed it up because you moved it in the wrong place. Anyway, this is so that, you know, they have a method to where it irons so it's the most efficient. Yeah, so basically after it's pressed here, it comes over here, it gets hung on hangers, and then she's checking it. The garment gets checked again, so you can see there's quality steps that go along the way. This we call it QC, quality control. So there are quality control steps that go along the way. It gets hung, she's cleaning some more, and then Verna says she comes and she has to, with her eyes, she has another set of eyes to come and see it and make sure that it all came out, you know, correctly. And then, yeah, and then we come in Here, these are, this is what actually he's pressing. This is the garment he was just pressing, by the way. Oh, it's got a pleat. Oh, that has a pleat. That's funny. I thought that's got a pleat there. Interesting. So here it is. It gets from pressing, go to hanging, and now we go to, this is the final step, right? The poly bag. So the poly bag is the final step. So this garment will go on here. It goes on, and then the poly bag.
Yeah, right.
It comes down and goes onto the garment, and you cut it off at the top. So that's how it ends up. So that's the final step, and then it gets sent to the brand, and the brand will do what they do. These are other finished garments here. So here, we talked about branding. The hang tag, the garment, the main label, the size, and the content care label where it's made. Also, so this is a whole rack of finished garments here, and yeah, this is all finished. These garments. Yeah, this feels like it feels like it's something that you could like swim in or something. It's an interesting fabric. Every year they like this fabric. Yeah, like that's the thing. If you get, which I mentioned in earlier episodes, if you are doing a fabric that a lot of times that you could be running a fabric that just works for you, and each season you repeat the same fabric, you change the colors, you do new prints, things like that. So that's how a lot of brands will really get, they kind of hone in on a fabric that's working for them, that retails for them. So in this case, Verna's saying this brand, they like to do this particular fabric over and over again each season. This is me and Verna. No, this is great. So no, it's exciting. It's exciting. I love sharing all of this knowledge with you because, again, you don't see this. Oh, here, this is important. The kitchen. That's an important. You got to eat. So you have to understand that the workers here, they don't leave. Like, they will eat their lunch here. It's not like they don't. Many jobs they'll go out for lunch. They go pick up food or whatever. Here, they don't do that. They bring their food. They cook. So this is all their dishes here. These are all their bowls and stuff. And then they're cooking the rice here. So they'll do their refrigerator. So they're making all their meals here. So they'll have their snacks and their lunch here. So that's really interesting. I feel like you don't see that. You don't see that coming and going. This is we call this spaghetti because it looks like spaghetti. But this is what we call spaghetti. This is for, when you have ties on a garment, you could have like a waist tie or a tie at the wrist or even a necktie. This is how it comes. It comes on rolls like this. So, any fabric, whatever fabric you're doing. So it's called spaghetti. And it looks like spaghetti. So, if you got value, subscribe, like, and share this with your friends. And jump into the Facebook group, The Fashion Masterclass. It's been such a pleasure being here. I'm super excited, and I'm super excited that I got the opportunity to bring you guys in and see the real behind the scenes of what really goes on in a factory. So, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. I love this. Look, all the good luck pieces. No, it's amazing. No, I love it. I love it. I love the red. It's so rich. Yeah. No, it's great. I just love the heritage, and I don't know. It's meaningful. I love that people can come from another country and come to America, and they bring their heritage with them. I don't know. It's very moving to me.
This guy is protect us. The business for getting more business.
Oh, you heard her. So basically this protects her and helps her to get more business. That's why we're here and we're in business.